Hey, today I'm going to bring you behind the scenes into the concepts of how we designed Renegade Way to help you reach your soccer goals. Hey, so if you're like me as a young athlete, your dreams are absolutely amazing, right? So you either want to play in UEFA, you want to get a college scholarship, you want to play for the women's national team, something that's incredible, because it wouldn't be a dream if it wasn't incredible. But the problem is that seems like such a long ways off. And really, you're just looking to make that very next step. So whether you're, not getting as much playing time and you just want to see the pitch more, whether you're on the B team at your club, you want to make the A team, you're starting to progress up the ODP ladder, we just need to take that very next step. So what I want to do is I want to help you do that right now. Now, club soccer has an issue. And the issue is everybody talks development, everybody judges by outcomes of games. And so that puts a really weird incentive on your coach. And your coach only has you a couple of days a week. And there's no possible way that they cover technical, tactical, psychosocial, all of the, physical, the fitness, the strength, the core strength, the power, the explosion, the agility. There's just way too much for your coach to cover in a couple of days a week. And so what they're trying to do is they're trying to do just a little bit of everything. And what happens is then you get a very linear, slow progression all the time in club soccer. And this is why the best players, they do so much stuff outside of club soccer, right? Club soccer is necessary, but it's not sufficient. So what we do at Renegade Soccer Training is we say, what would be the very next thing that I need to develop physically and technically? So you take one or two or both, right? And you say, that would help me the most to make my next team, to make my next goal, that next step up the stairway towards my soccer dream, right? So what would be the most important thing? And then we're gonna focus on that for 60 to 90 days, right? We're gonna take an assessment at the start, and then 3 months later, we're gonna take another assessment with maybe some tests along the way, right? Because everything is super motivating when you can actually see a difference every single week because you're getting thousands of touches working on some particular move. So let's say you're an outside midfielder, but you're not really great at 1v1 ability. Sure, you're fast and you can cross the ball and you've got great endurance, but man, it'd be great if you could just take people on 1v1 and go right to the sideline and get those crosses in, right? Well, for the next 60 to 90 days, if you just worked on scissors with your left foot and scissors with your right foot, how much better would you be at that one skill? The answer is a lot. And truthfully, it doesn't really take a lot of moves to be good in 1v1. Change of direction, change of pace, some feint, and sure, you want to throw in a scissor or a lunge or a croqueta or something, that's awesome. But you're not talking about a huge commitment in terms of your central nervous system and coordination. Just get that one move down, doing it thousands and thousands of times, right? And you know what? It's super motivating because when you start ripping that off at practice and you start spinning defenders around, all of a sudden you're saying to yourself, wow, this is amazing, right? It's very, very good positive feedback, all right? Now, in order to get to that next level, here's the thing. We want to have the outcome of the next level, but what we really have to do is we have to change who we are, right? Because in order to get to that next level, in order to develop that physical quality or that mental quality or that skill set, you're gonna have to do a lot of work, right? So we wanna have the outcome, but we're gonna have to do the work. But in order to do that work, which you're probably not doing right now, you're gonna have to be someone different. Okay? And so what we have to do is we have to get that discipline. We have to get that resilience, right? Because we want to develop those superpowers. We want to take here's the scissor, and I'm going to put that as part of my superpowers, right? Oh, there we go. I'm really, really strong at shielding. Part of my superpowers. Oh, I'm very, very explosive now because I worked on my strength and my explosiveness and my running. Bam, part of my superpowers, right? But in order to have those superpowers, we're gonna have to do the work that is necessary, okay? So the first thing we have to do is we have to look at the B, and we're like, how do I set up my habits and rituals so I get to be not only motivated each day, but also disciplined, right? Because motivation goes up and down, but discipline stays with us day in and day out. So what are those habits and rituals that I'm going to develop internally so that way I do the work, okay? So it's B. What do I have to be in order to do the work, in order to have the outcomes that I want, okay? Now, the next question is, just to take a look at that very next step, okay? That very next step is the only thing that you have to look at, and I'll give you a little insight. Normally, there's a Stoic philosophy, it's a Stoic philosophy principle, and it's the obstacle is the way, all right? So if you actually look at it and say, you know what, my real problem is I'm not really good at defending 1v1. I can tell you what, chances are that if you just improve your defending 1v1, that obstacle, that is the way to get to the next level. If you're like, oh man, I'm really not good at the 1v1 techniques taking on people down the sidelines, that obstacle is probably the way. So the Stoic philosophy is the obstacle is the way. And that gives you a lot of insight into what you're going to be doing over the next 60 to 90 days. Okay, so I hope these concepts really helped you out. The first one is to understand that linear progress is not fun, okay? It is what is absolutely necessary for club soccer to exist because they don't have you full time. But you at home can make all of a sudden these very intensive leaps in terms of physical development or in terms of skill development. You can do that at home. And the leaps that you want to make are very, very strategic. You want to either go to your coach or you want to figure out what exactly would I have to develop to get more playing time, to make that next level team, to become that ODP type player, to become that impact player that I want to be, to add more value, okay? And then once we know those superpowers that you want to add, okay, now we have to set ourselves up. What work do I have to do to be able to develop that, all right? And that is exactly what you'll be doing every 60 to 90 days. And if you break it down all the way to that, it becomes extremely simple and it becomes fun. Because all of a sudden you're like, oh man, I'm really a lot better at handling the ball out of the air because I learned how to juggle. Oh, I really worked on my shooting, so now when I'm in a position to score, I'm ringing them into the upper 90s, okay? So it becomes ultra motivating instead of just getting a little bit better, you know, after 6 months. That's not very cool. So break it down every 60 to 90 days. One physical attribute you're going to work on, one technical attribute, and then set yourself up. What are these habits? What are the rituals? What is the discipline? How do I be the kind of person that's going to do the work to have the outcomes I want? So I hope these tips helped you out. I know that pathway seems like a super long one, but if you just take the very next step, if you just focus on taking that very next step, you're going to get there in no time. Take care.